Bueno, bienvenidos a Claridad Profunda.
Este es un podcast donde exploramos temas del día a día en busca de paz, en busca de claridad. Y hoy estamos en un episodio muy especial.
Estamos en un lugar diferente, en Playa Venado, con nuestro amigo Scott. Él es fundador del proyecto Save the Turtles, Playa Venado. Y vamos a hablar sobre muchos temas diferentes con respecto a la naturaleza, con respecto a los ciclos de la vida de los animales y también cómo eso influencia en nuestra vida y cómo nosotros podemos empoderarnos y hacernos cambiar como una humanidad, tú sabes. Entonces, vamos a hablar la entrevista en inglés para que Scott pueda hablar full con nosotros, pretty, y, ¿sabes? Vamos a tratar de que todos nos entendamos ahí en el Spanglish y la cosa.
Thank you, Scott. So, to start, what can you talk a little bit about what you do? Not the project itself, but what does the project do? Save the Turtles.
The project is a conservation of turtles for marine turtles, specifically olive ridleys, which are the most prominent turtle on this beach. And they're having troubles. They're on the endangered list because of human influence, mostly. The reason that the reasons of the human factors that have caused them to be on the endangered list is based upon lack of consideration towards nature, and some of the other folks that are doing development as well as waste, plastic waste and other things that impact the environment. And basically there's just a need for more education, and with education I think that we can make a change for the better.
Of course, I think that also this is like part of like a complete unconsciousness of the human beings, because you can be in the city and say, how can I change the situation for these turtles? And the first thing is like not throwing your plastic things in the river, have a recycle quality of throwing your garbage. That will help so much, and that will be like from your house. So like right now I have been experiencing this, like seeing all the turtles like getting burned. It's so difficult for them, and they call it like the life path, like just to arrive to the sea. And we sometimes like don't help them,
Because I feel like nature itself, they don't need humans, like nature, turtles, like by nature, their mom lay the eggs and they hatch and they walk to the sea. It's like their normal life, the start of their life, right? But because of us humans, and we know that in Venao, it's like it's a touristic, is it like a tourist attraction maybe?
The turtles,
itself?
Ecotourism hasn't been a centralized attraction here yet. It's mostly been surfing, and the surf crowd doesn't necessarily is now adopting some of the ecotourism in a better way. But of all of the developments here, there's only one or two that really have a good sense of environmental consciousness going on. And what we're trying to do with the program is to build some of the ecotourism in Panama, like the way it is very successful, in my opinion, in Costa Rica. You can see a certain level of responsibility of the people that live in Costa Rica that we would like to transition to here. So we hope to bring conservationists from Costa Rica here to help us understand some of the methods and modalities in which ecotourism has been so popular in Costa Rica.
But just briefly, like Panama in general, how is our level of like the mindset? In general, it doesn't have to be.
In general, I would say it's lacking a lot of the promising characteristics right now. And with time and education and patience and persistence, I think we can make a good change.
But you know why I ask this? Because like we normal like people that live in the city, or I guess like common people, we don't know the impact that our intervention in nature does to the bigger picture, to the nature itself, right? Like, I guess like if we let turtles die, if we keep developing, and then like, what does it do to nature? I don't know if you have an idea. If we don't save them.
Yeah, there's a if you're looking at like the circle of nature and how there's a balance between species that exist within the planet, we have several things that would go out of balance without turtles. For example, the volume of aguamala or medusa or the jellyfish that sting you. Turtles are one of the few, if not only, sea life that actually consume them. And I've noticed since I've been here, just in the short time, that the increase in jellyfish has made it so it's like the water is just inundated with the jellyfish. And this has been something that you actually see even outside of China. Outside of China, in between Japan and the ocean, the number of jellyfish is increasing. And as those jellyfish increase, so decreases the oxygen level in the oceans. And as the oxygen levels in the ocean decrease, also fish life becomes harder to sustain. So there's a real need to keep a balance in the environment with all of the creatures that are here.
Exactly. We need to see that how that nature all is like compensated. Like you do something little makes a big impact in the world always.
Correct.
And sometimes like they say like we are like humans and we say like I cannot change a lot because if my life is a complete mess, how can I change something else and do it better? But with that kind of mindset, you are just propagating more this kind of suffering that is not only affecting you, it's affecting the whole universe. You know? So when we start doing like little changes, let's say like in the house, like I want to recycle more the plastic bottles. I will do more like clean food, going more organic, try to connect more with that nature. You also start healing something inside that also helps you cleanse and also cleanse the outer nature. And let's say like this place has so much potential for so many things. Most people they grab it for parties, for you know, flowing in the night in the nature, but people can do more like investment in the turtle scene tourism, like how we were yesterday at midnight and we thought we were just going to see 58 turtles and we see the double quantity. And just walking
200%.
around the beach you can see so many turtles hatch and try to go to the sea.
Just being turtles.
Yes, and that's so deep and profound and makes you understand that how difficult it for this turtle to go to the sea and survive, and why I'm just feeling exhausted of like the daily stress of life, you know.
See, like we can talk about the process of what you do, like saving the turtles, or what we saw last night. Like when we were waiting the nest for like an hour. Like I felt honestly I felt a little bit like impatient because I thought it was gonna be fast. But then you told me like they're trying to crawl from like 40 centimeters to the top.
Yeah.
Now you can explain a little bit of that process, because like from people that don't know, it's like we don't know what's happening. We're just waiting for action to happen, but actually there's a lot happening, and there's a lot of like, I don't know, it's nature going on.
So the turtle nests, when they're laid by the mother turtle, she typically digs a hole with her rear flippers, about 40 centimeters deep, about the size of a soccer ball. That's about arm's length. And when the eggs are stacked up inside, you might have about 10, 12, 14 centimeters worth of eggs, depending on how wide the nest clutch is. They refer to it as a clutch. When we recover a nest and we put it into the nursery, we also take some of the same sand from the same location that has the embryonic fluid from the mother, because that's a very important protecting fluid that's within the sand that protects the eggs from things below the surface like bugs and so forth. Once the nests hatch, when they're about to hatch, one of the indicators that I'm able to see in the nursery, and maybe not as easy to see out in the wild, is in the nursery where it's a controlled environment, I'm able to see a little bit of collapsing of the sand on the surface. And what I mean by collapsing is the volume distribution of the clutch decreases because the space between the eggs disappears as the turtles come out of their shells and make their way towards the surface. So where we might have a volume of 40 centimeters deep, all of a sudden that it decreases down to like 35 centimeters, and you see the collapsing of the sand on the top. So when we see that little indicator, we know that they're coming up, but we don't know how long it'll exactly take them, because the baby turtles are underground. They're using their senses to come to the surface, and the senses that they're using are when they sense the surface temperature, when they think the surface temperature is cooler. So this is why they come out at night. Plus also at night they have cover from predators that it would otherwise attack them going down the beach. Some do hatch in the morning, but a lot less. And if they hatch in the morning, we try to get them off into the ocean before 7:30 when the sand gets hot, and also when there's more predators available to go after them.
Like, do they die in the sun when they're just born?
They could basically exhaust themselves in the sun, and plus they're visually exposed, and they can be subject to other things like crabs and coyotes or dogs or whatever's on the beach. Seagulls, irresponsible humans that could just walk on them if they weren't paying attention. Horses riding on the beach may not even notice them. But the idea is that there's a sense of I can tell when a nest is coming up, but I can't tell exactly how long it'll take to get to the surface. So, I really appreciated your patience last night waiting for it, because once we saw the signs and we were seeing the sand just like rumbling a little bit, we could see it moving, we knew they were under there. How long it took them to get to the surface was a matter of time, because what I've observed is the turtles make like, let's say, between 4 to 12 movements when they're walking down the beach, for example. They'll take a few steps, they'll stop. It's almost like they're gathering their breath again, or maybe this is the first time they're moving. It's like a newborn. They can do some things, but they can't do everything. Well, the baby turtles are born having to do everything in all of their power right away, because they're going to have to go through the surf, the waves, as soon as they get to the ocean. And when they're rising up to the top, they're doing the same thing. They're moving a little bit, stopping. Moving a little bit, then stopping. And when they get to the surface, and we watched last night, we saw like they didn't open their eyes right away. Even they opened their eyes once we put them in the bucket, and they were like out, moving around. And then they would do this thing with their flipper where they kind of like wipe the sand off or something like that. And they were like stretching their neck and almost doing like their own little yoga maneuvers. And they need to have articulation of their joints, and ligaments and tendons is also an important part of making their journey down the beach. And working their lungs, because as a newborn, they're breathing for the first time too. So they need to learn to be able to breathe properly to make it through the surf, because turtles, once they go and the waves hit them, they're underwater for a while, and then you'll see them bop their head up and then they'll swim some more. But they're awesome swimmers right from the get-go, and they can also...
It's their nature.
Yeah, it's like it's so beautiful how to see how God's like wisdom manifest in a turtle, like how it needs to walk, and it needs to walk. You don't need to help him get to the water, because probably he will lose some muscle distressity, some lung capacity, and you think that you are helping him, but you are just like killing him, because you are making him soft. And you see also that the turtles don't go like rushing, because they know the rhythm of life. Okay, my way of going is 4 or 5 steps. I will go 4 or 5 steps and rest. And they take their time. They're not like in a rush, because part of life, who knows how many years he will be living, can be 100 years. There are even sea turtles that can live 150 years. So they are not in a hurry. They are like trying their best, using their intuition and their wisdom to go up in the surface, walk, survive the predators, and later swim, breathe, and continue swimming, and see how to survive.
So for more predators,
for more predators, like all the time, from 360 degrees.
And then besides predators, there's nature. Like the water, whatever, climate, I don't know, like, and then there's humans. It's a lot of things that they have to fight just to start their life.
Of course.
Like it's beautiful, like Juan said, like the cycle of life of turtles. Like, see, there are many animals in the world, but the turtle's life it starts like this. So it's so interesting. Like every animal, even humans, we have like a life cycle. Like we're born, we get educated, we marry, then we have kids, and then we die. That's our cycle. See.
The life cycle of the turtle is very interesting to consider. The fact that under normal uninfluenced human factors, a turtle might survive 1 in 100, but because of human factors, it's 1 in 1,000. So it's literally like a jackpot when a turtle survives, because the human factors that impact them here on this beach and other beaches, very significantly on this beach, are poachers, people that take the eggs, sell them, and eat them. It's very common, and it's not been something that's been well protected and controlled yet. There's obviously the other human factors that kill the turtles are long lines and nets, as well as oil spills and other issues like the plastic that they might ingest accidentally. We have a lot of plastic in the ocean here, and with all of that said, it's like a jackpot. Them surviving to adulthood is almost impossible. So what we're doing to help to increase their numbers is to give them a better chance, because the human factors have made it so hard for them to live.
I was thinking, like, we said earlier that maybe because of our interference, they not as many turtles survive, right? But then now we're helping. So is it creating an imbalance? Not really, because you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
It could be said that the natural kingdom doesn't mean for them to survive, but I believe that that's a lack of human education, a lack of consideration for the natural world around us. And if we don't conserve certain things in the natural world, obviously we find there's problems, whether it be water pollution, air pollution. All of these things are basically a lack of consideration towards the environment.
It's like lack of compassion, even of kindness, even for themselves.
Yeah, like, because we're all like habitants of the world. Like, I was thinking of an example when we drive in Panama on any highway or carretera, I forgot how to call it, on the roads, you see sloths walking.
Sloth, yeah.
Yeah, because we have developed our stuff on their house, on their home.
Exactly.
But they'll find a way to still to live in their home, so they'll walk on our roads.
They gotta cross it.
That's
Same
like
thing with the
about not asking the nature for permission to go and develop something. So like we are so disconnected in the spiritual way that we just say that this land is mine, I do whatever I want with it. But who says that it's really yours? The government, the society says that's yours, but you even there, you need to ask for permission for the trees, for everything.
Ask every sloth, yeah.
For to open themselves, so you can live in balance with it. So
coexistence,
exactly. So that's like a very tribal and like indigenous way of life. Like
exactly.
They say, like in Peru or Colombia, people ask for permission. Even in Buddhism, before you construct a temple or a house, you need to ask the spirits of that area, give them offerings, and say like, my intentions are always good for you, be good for me, and they will do a coexisting energetical one that makes like the life much better. But here you just cut wherever I bought the land, do whatever I want, and later when I have snakes in my house, I have rats in my house, or from one day there's a tiger in my house. Why they are coming to my house, to my property?
Well, it wasn't your property to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the interesting thing is that nature, we always talk about it in our podcast, like nature will always find a way, right? Like they will always find a way to survive, to like, we were talking about like Cambodia, the roots on the temples, the roots will find their way around the concrete and whatever thing we built.
Yeah.
So like, I think nature will always find its way, like animals crawling into our houses, but it's also the other way around. Like we as humans, we will help. We are also part of nature. Like what you're doing, it's giving the balance a little bit back to how it should be. Not in favor of nature or in favor of humans, but just how things should be, like balance,
Harmony.
Yeah. That's like the yin and yang, all the law of the 5 elements. That's like more deep in the Asian like philosophy of life and also in medicine. That's why like so many people are sick, and from emotional problems, from this balanced way of living, and the only way to heal themselves really is making consciousness of that darkness that is like living and cycling in their day.
And getting reconnected to nature is a big part of that important factor that a lot of people in urban societies don't have. And maybe that was one of the fortunate outcomes of the pandemic for me, was to be wanting to get away from the city. The kind of claustrophobic confinement of the city was something that I knew I wanted to be away from as soon as far into the country as I could. And once I got out here, discovering and feeling a certain connection to nature was a beautiful, peaceful part of life that I felt like I was recapturing after being in the city. It's not like Zootropia, but I wasn't afraid of the city, but I knew that what I was missing was connection to the ground, the earth. And living in a high-rise was so far removed from walking in the sand on the beach to, hearing the birds, seeing the butterflies, watching all of nature, and seeing the turtles here on the beach was a very moving experience. I had recently been to Costa Rica, where I observed a nursery there that was a pretty profound experience, and knowing that the turtles have a very difficult chance against all odds, and the human interference made it even worse. And I could see all of those factors here at this beach. This beach has every contrary adversarial condition that you could imagine. Humans that steal the eggs, dogs and coyotes that eat the eggs. Now, coyotes are a natural predator, but they're here more so because of the trash that we leave around, and they're here too because they're predators. The puma are no longer here because they slashed and burned 100 years ago. And this is called Playa now, but there's not even any deer here. Very few. You'll see like just 2 or 3 over the last year I've seen. But the turtles have every factor against them, from the lights, the construction, the people putting the stone walls on the beach, people putting landfill in the high tide area. It's all just humans not taking into consideration what impact they have on the environment. So I felt compelled. I felt it was my call to nature to lend a hand, and I still today am very compassionate about doing it, and I'm glad that I've hopefully inspired some others and given some hope, not just for the turtles, but for nature in general. And we're starting some other projects here. We're going to hopefully make a bridge for the monkeys to cross over the road. As you were mentioning, how the sloths have a hard time crossing, so do the local monkeys. There's also an issue with Naturgy, where they have the power lines where their tails of the howler monkeys connect and they basically explode. So what we're trying to do is a couple other things: a recycling program and some other sustainable projects like solar and we want to do some things to influence a society to have a certain level of sustainable and environmentally conscious, and bringing the ecotourism to here, I think, would be a huge benefit. It connects people to nature, and that's something, that connection to nature is something that I think a lot of people in urban areas are missing. And with one of the programs that we want to do, aside from education for local schools, is we want to bring inner city kids that are in lesser privileged parts of the inner city out here, to give them a chance to experience what it's like to be participating as a volunteer in a nursery and what needs to be done. And perhaps it inspires one of them. Maybe one of them, just like
Yeah,
one
just
out of
one.
1,000 turtles, maybe one out of 1,000 kids are inspired, and they become a new guardian of nature, and that would be, you know, a good thing.
You know, it's beautiful because we don't need, like, from the 100 kids, we don't need 100 more Scots. Maybe we just need one more, and then from him we get like another few, and then, because the truth is we don't all have to be like this. It's hard, it's impossible for the whole world to be like guardians of nature, but with a few it's enough to bring like the balance. You know, we always talk like your call was turtles, and then recycling, and then solar, all these projects, but like we all have different, like, I guess, calls of life or missions. Like, maybe I'm not interested in saving turtles. I think it's good. Maybe it's an example, but then maybe I have another thing that helps nature. Like, we all have to, like, we don't have to, but we'll find our way to help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it's like this, like doing a podcast,
Maybe
explaining.
It's a way of reaching out.
It's a way, because if not, they'll say there's no point. There will no point for me. But if I continue and help expand more the energy and make the energy be energy and flow with it and expand as much as you can, by using a very nice and high frequency of energy, you can help calibrate other people around you.
Yeah.
Because happiness and peace feels when you are going somewhere, you know. I see that person radiates so much energy, so peaceful, so happy, and he feels like so how you say, even young. You can see yourself like handsome or very inspiring.
it's how you said it. Hope it inspires
Exactly.
Yeah.
some way, somehow.
Give a motivation for life to always be more connected with our own self, that is nature.
Positive influence
Exactly.
begetting more positive.
Yeah.
Besides, like right now, I feel myself like I'm more energy than body, you know, because if I die, this body doesn't move anymore. But what changed is like the clothes. Like when you change life, you will change characters, but the same energy is inside, trying to have a very profound, like, living, like, path. That is the path of peace, the path of loving kindness, compassion for everyone, for everything that you can experience in life. Enjoy it as much as possible.
Like an example, for example, it's like when you're no longer here, you have inspired at least a few more Scots, at least a few more guardians of nature. So that's when we're not here, that's what we leave in the world, I guess, like our
Legacy
our
of
legacy.
Yeah, like yesterday I felt like a numerology sign, because you said that we will be only 50 and we're 108.
yeah.
And in Buddhism, 108 is like a very, very meaningful number.
Yeah.
You know the mala that you use to recite mantras, they have 108 beats.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
that's an interesting.
Yeah.
A fun fact, just in case.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And
That's
if you
very interesting.
multiply 108 per 3, it gets you 432. I think
And that's the the hertz of the sound.
the
of,
sound of harmony of universe.
which is what the crystal wool is, right?
Yeah, exactly. This crystal ball. So
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
We were right in frequency with where we were
With the
supposed to
universe.
be.
we were
Yeah.
all connected in that moment.
You know, like I was saying, like last night, like 2 nights earlier, like we bumped into a mama turtle. You
Yes.
know, what are the chances of, like, we were having dinner and then blah blah, and then, like, at the right time, like if we had dinner like 30 seconds more,
You may
we
not
will
have
miss
seen
it.
it.
We'll have like walk past it. So it's like things conspire for it to
Exactly.
happen. If you, yeah, there's always a way, like, for things to happen.
So before finishing, tell us where you can find the project in Instagram. How can you help us? How can people donate money if they want to? If they want to buy some of these tank tops or T-shirts,
Yeah.
Or come and learn.
come and learn and have
see.
a experience, turtle experience.
So so we're located in Playa Vanao. We're on the property of Echo Vanao, next to Surf Dojo. We will be expanding and having another location even bigger near the platform for yoga in next to La Barca soon. But we are on Instagram, Save the Turtles Vanao, and we also have a website that's Tortugas de Playa Vanao. We have a GoFundMe account, which is used for raising funds, of which we've raised over $4,000 now already. And we also have t-shirts that we're selling. We're doing only pre-orders of t-shirts. We might have some extras, so you can contact me directly, and we can leave some details on this podcast for folks to follow up. As far as volunteers, if you're interested in volunteering, we do have we have people even coming from Israel next month. We have someone from France coming later this month. Volunteers are welcome at all times. Basically, we'll put you through a small training program, so that way you know, like, the babysitting responsibility or the nest relocation or the beach patrol obligations. With that part of the project, contacting me directly, you can contact me through my email, scott@atptranslations.com, and I can help to give you some dates which we would have available time frames for you to come, and other ways in you can help. If you're interested in volunteering remotely, we have tasks and responsibilities from a work plan that can be delegated to people to assist in different capacities, whether it be helping with social media or looking with accounting or looking at fundraising. We have different projects throughout the year in which we'll be spearheading, and always happy to accept support. We also plan to hire some locals as well, where there's opportunities to engage locals and give them part of an income that's well needed. As I mentioned, with the idea with the poachers and having them do their own nursery, is an idea of changing their economic interest from the illegal black market selling of the eggs to a sustainable ecotourism component. So there's different parts of the project that you can get involved, and we would love to have your support.
Of course, hopefully we can do a meditation seminar, let's say, in the beach. We can combine it with yoga, healthy eating, like music therapy in the night.
Sounds great.
And turtle releasing
at night.
Hopefully.
Or in the morning sometime.
Who knows? That's part of the meditation therapy, you know. Like, be patient. Probably this will hatch today. Probably not.
And then we wait the whole night. Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you both. So I appreciate y'all coming so far out from the city to be here, and it's been a pleasure to have you here, and really enjoyed. I'm so glad that you got to experience the release at the nursery with the babies hatching, and you got to see the turtles on the beach as well. Next time, maybe even something more special. Maybe we'll get to relocate a nest. Maybe do something even more unique. We could document the turtle nesting, which I know you didn't have the full opportunity to see, but we can try and work it during the peak season next time.
You know, there's a lot of things to do in this tourism. I thought the bonus was seeing the mother turtle nesting, but that was too much. We saw wild turtles hatch. We saw nursery turtles hatch. We helped several ones. We even see a mom walking back to the sea. It's a complete experience. We went to a cascade, went to swim, go fishing.
Got to go to the caves.
The cave, yeah. So what else we can ask for 1 day or two relaxing days, you know?
You even got a log for your bird to perch?
Yeah, perch.
We went fishing, everything.
We're fishing. We ate sardines that we...
Okay, thank you so much for inviting us to your house and letting us have this wonderful experience.
Show us,
like right now we're completely like mind blown, you know. Like a religious experience right now here.
Turtle philosophy 101.
Yeah.
No, you know, like, to finish this episode, like, my favorite animal, like, symbolically, it's our turtles. Because they're green, they have a shell, they're old, they're wise.
Yes.
So it's a good animal.
In Chinese philosophy, the turtle is the wisest and the healthiest. You know, like in the mythology, the turtle, it was the one that protects the wisdom.
Sí.
So and you see in Panda, Kung Fu
Panda,
yeah.
the turtle is a master of.
Yes.
No.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Eso está buenísimo.
Okay.